Hey everybody, and welcome to the JIMPACT Zone, where I, James Gisanti, go over everything Impact and Ring of Honor. There was a lot of wrestling tonight. I would say too much wrestling tonight. It was exhausting. I love you too, JL. Thank you for being here, buddy. Uh, Ring of Honor, I'm just going to get that out of the way now because it was a lot. Like, they booked an insane amount of matches, so much so that this was a 3-hour show, and it felt like it. It was a marathon. They kept the show going and going and going. There wasn't a lot of good pacing, in my opinion, and none of the matches really mattered. The only match that I think truly, really mattered was the main event tonight, which was the tag team match, where Samoa Joe, the Ring of Honor television champion, teamed with the New Japan Pro Wrestling World television champion, Zack Sabre Jr., as they took on Christopher Daniels and Matt Sydal. On paper, this match sounded good. And guess what? It lived up to the hype. It was even better. It doesn't matter how old Joe and Daniels are, they still have good chemistry, and they were being carried by the younger guys of Zack Sabre Jr. and Matt Sydal, who's no spring chicken himself, but he's still able to do the flippy stuff that we all love. The true story, though, wasn't necessarily the tag match between the four men, but the animosity between the two champions themselves, the two partners themselves, where we saw Zack Sabre Jr. and Samoa Joe trying to one-up one another, highlight themselves, tag themselves in, basically anything you would see in a tag team rivalry in a 2K game. And despite not necessarily always being on the same page, it didn't matter. They were still able to get the win over their opponents of Daniels and Matt Sydal. Is there any chance Danny will be showing up? Not that you are bad. You know what I mean. Thank you, JL. That was the nicest thing you've ever said to me, buddy. Who knows? You never know who pops up in the JIMPACT Zone, just like you never know who's going to pop up in the Impact Zone or the Ring of Honor Zone. I don't know. If Danny shows up, I'm sure it's just for you, though, JL. But, yeah, we had lots of matches. Athena had a match. Miranda Alizé had a match. I don't want to skip over them. I really don't want to be rude and disregard anything that happened on Ring of Honor, but none of it was of consequence. There were probably at least a dozen matches on this regular show that had no build, had no hype, that had... Are you now, JL? Are you always nice to me? Well, I appreciate you, and I appreciate your kindness, as always. But Ring of Honor was really just a show tonight. Didn't matter how much wrestling they put on. Didn't matter how much good wrestling they put on. And there was good wrestling. Kyle Fletcher looked excellent in his match against AR Fox, and I'm very happy he got a win after his loss in AEW, which, surprise, surprise, is something that they are always going to do, it seems. I really complained about it last night in our Dynamite live review, and tonight was no different. It was a lot of Ring of Honor guys who tend to lose getting in AEW, getting a win here in Ring of Honor. Whoop-de-doo. Blake Christian pulled out a win later on against Nick Camarado as well. At the end of the day, Tony Khan is saying more about how he views Ring of Honor than anybody else. So hopefully that changes with time. We shall see. But moving on to Impact. Wait, where did you watch Ring of Honor? Is it kind of like TNA in 2014 when it left Spike? Right now, the only place to watch Ring of Honor is Honor Club. So $10 a month gets you all the Ring of Honor action that you would want. Past pay-per-views, current product on a weekly basis. Everything Ring of Honor is in Honor Club if you're willing to spend the $10 a month. Right now, they do not have a big audience. They do not have a big subscription base. I think it's just in the thousands at this point, and it's not the high thousands either. It's a quality product, but tonight was just booking for the sake of booking, and whether or not you agree with that is up to you. But regardless, we then had moving over to Impact, which was a fun show in its own right, but again, kind of struggled with what AEW did, which was not really give us the best go-home show. But a fine show on its own. That said, despite the negativity I just presented you with, I gotta say, it started off with what was possibly the best match of the night on both shows, and that was between Chris Sabin and Mike Bailey in an X Division match. This match was incredible. It was high-flying. It was back and forth. These were two guys who could have been in a pay-per-view. These two guys that I would love to see in an X Division championship match on pay-per-view moving forward. But alas, we got it for free on TV or for $1 on YouTube, and we saw Chris Sabin getting the win over Mike Bailey as he prepares for his X Division championship match tomorrow at Under Siege against Trey Miguel. Great match where we saw Sabin get the win following a muscle buster, acknowledging Samoa Joe, leading into a cradle shock for the 1-2-3. Great match, so much back and forth. If you're looking for fun wrestling this week, go watch this match between these two amazing high flyers. Let's see, 10 a month or the WWE Network. I'll let you figure out what is worth it. Both are good. I'm not telling you not to get the WWE Network. I miss honestly having the WWE Network. I'm stuck to Peacock now. But the reality is, for $1 for Impact, that's the best deal of the three. Best deal of the three. Ring of Honor, I'm not going to fight for you. Don't go watch that. But Impact, for only $1, you're getting incredible content. But moving forward, we had that excellent match, and then we had a recap video where PCO and Macklin's feud was highlighted. And Macklin is under the impression that PCO will not be challenging for the championship tomorrow at Under Siege after the brutal beatdown that he and Champagne Singh delivered on him last week with the sledgehammer and the cement blocks. He, in fact, later tonight will be coming out to name his #1 contender for the title tomorrow. We then had a tag team match where Kenny King and Sheldon Jean defeated the Decay. Guys, I'm a little heartbroken right now because it's been reported that Black Taurus is no longer signed to Impact. I don't need to move to Canada. I've been there a couple times, though. Or one time. Regardless, very nice people. Very nice people. Next time I'm there, I'll hit you up, JL. But yes, Black Taurus is no longer signed to Impact. I don't know what this means for the Decay. I don't know what this means for Black Taurus. Maybe he'll still show up on a per appearance deal, on a handshake deal without a contract. Time will tell. But if this means he gets signed anywhere else, that will be amazing. I would love to see him in AEW. I think he would thrive there. But this was a fine match. Wow, I have Kenny King and the Decay taking on Crazy Steve and Black Taurus. I don't know. Oh, no, yeah, never mind. That did happen. But we did. I forgot because the real story of that match is what came after, which is Nick Aldis, who was on commentary for that match, getting called out by Kenny King. Nick Aldis was, how do we say, he was not biased during this match. He was extremely biased during this match on commentary, just taking every opportunity to rip Kenny King, while also acknowledging, wow, it's just coming from all angles. Thank you, Hardcore Casual. So hurtful. I can't be an extra if I'm the only one here. I'm the guy. But we had Kenny King calling out Nick Aldis. And when Nick Aldis accepted that challenge ahead of their match tomorrow at Under Siege, Sheldon Jean ran in front of him to ambush him. Nick quickly dispatched of him, and Kenny King ran up the ramp saying that tomorrow is another day, and that is when they will wrestle, tomorrow at Under Siege. We then had a backstage segment where Jessica Havoc, who is still waiting for Rosemary, the hourglass, the sand pouring through with not a lot of time left, getting ready for her match against Taylor Wilde. Rosemary still hasn't shown up. Jessica had to run out. And this was not even a match, guys. This was a one move beatdown where Wild hit the Witch's Wrath for the 1-2-3 while Jessica was distracted by Kylan King. As the beatdown continued after the match, we go backstage and we see that the sand has finally poured and the door opens and it's no longer Rosemary, it's Courtney Rush, Rosemary's alter ego. She is way less creepy, way more fun, and I don't want to say bubbly, but punky. And she makes the save for her alter ego's partner, and backstage they discuss what happened. She doesn't understand why she's here and not Rosemary, but Jessica doesn't care. She invites her to be a death doll and to be a tag team. Courtney happily accepts, and tomorrow they will be taking on the Coven at Under Siege for the tag team titles. I've never really experienced Courtney Rush. This is new for me, but it's definitely something I think Rosemary's needed. She's needed a little bit of a polish because we haven't gotten much out of Rosemary since Taya Valkyrie's departure. So this is a nice flip up. This is a nice switch on what we know, and hopefully this leads to some wins for the teams. For the team, I should say. We also had earlier, which I forgot to mention, a backstage promo video where Trinity is talking about her feud with Giselle Shaw and her matchup with her tomorrow at Under Siege, where she talks about her arrival in the Impact Zone, her being confronted by the Knockouts champion Deonna Purrazzo and Jordynne Grace, her encounter with Jay Vidal, and how that led to the match with Giselle Shaw tomorrow. I'm looking forward to this match. Giselle has not failed to deliver once so far in Impact. And Trinity, that first match she had was a nice indicator that she still got it. And I'm very much looking forward to seeing these women go at it tomorrow at the pay-per-view. We then had a one-on-one match where Rich Swann, who was accompanied by Sami Callihan, took on Alan Angels, accompanied by the rest of the Design. Well, Impact's an extra shit. That was mean. That was mean. I don't like how good that was, but that was good. It was mean, but good. But you're like the king of the... Dude, y'all are ripping me hard. Danny's the GOAT, plain and simple. I love Danny. You're never going to hear me say a bad word about Danny. Because he could beat me up, I think. Maybe. I don't know. I don't want to ever find out. But regardless, we had that singles match where Alan Angels was accompanied by the rest of the Design. This was a fun match. I'm a big fan of Alan Angels. I think he's an underrated talent, and people don't give him the appreciation. Oh, God. No, Eric, you're the producer GOAT, and I appreciate you for that. But anyway, Alan Angels never gets the love or appreciation he deserves. He was always sort of the background guy in the Dark Order, so I'm very happy to see that that's not the case here with the Design. He might have gotten the loss with Rich Swann getting the win with a 450 splash, but it doesn't matter because he looks fantastic in this very competitive bout against a former Impact World Heavyweight Champion. You can't ask for much more from a young guy who is trying to reestablish himself in this wrestling landscape following his departure from AEW. Very happy for Alan Angels. Good for Rich Swann for getting the win. He needed it to keep him warm after the beatdown that followed as Sami Callihan and Rich were jumped by the rest of the Design and then beaten with Sami's own bat. Rough stuff. Going to be very interesting to see the six-man tag tomorrow and who Rich Swann and Sami Callihan's third man will be. I have no idea, but I'm very excited to see what it could be. Moving on, we had a backstage segment where Deonna Purrazzo was being interviewed about what happened with her and Jordynne Grace, where she's interrupted by Alicia Edwards, who says that you got to wake up and see that this locker room is full of backstabbers and phonies, and that what happened with Jordynne was not a mistake. We then go to a backstage brawl, which is always fun, especially when it's with the women, where Killer Kelly and Masha Slamovich were going at it. This was a violent beat-down fight, and it was awesome. And it ended similarly to how their match ended, with a chokeout, but this time with Masha Slamovich choking out Killer Kelly with some wire that was exposed in the back. This is a excellent, fun feud, a very hard-hitting fight between the two women, and I'm really excited to see where their feud continues as time progresses. We then had a very, very quick squash match with Jordynne Grace defeating Alicia Edwards. Like that, Alicia, I'm happy you're on TV. Jordynne needed this little tune-up before her match for the championship tomorrow against Deonna Purrazzo. We then had a pre-taped promo that was interesting, to say the least, where Dirty Dango was being interviewed by an unseen entity. Outside, it was black and white. Who is Trinity? Trinity is Naomi from WWE, the former Naomi, one of the old Funkadactyls, although she is way more than a Funkadactyl, and way more than Naomi now. But this Dango interview was very interesting. It was filmed in black and white. He's wearing a beat-up, torn-up old T-shirt, and he is explaining that his issue with Impact and with wrestling in general right now is that the boys in the back don't act like the old boys that he knew from his old locker rooms. That they care more about social media likes than getting the crowd going. That he takes more pictures with marks in the back than fans in the audience. I like it. It's very much a... Do you not know who I'm talking about? Or are you surprised at who I'm talking about, Hardcore Casual? How do you not know who Naomi is? She's a former SmackDown Women's Champion, won at WrestleMania. She was Sasha Banks' tag team partner. Regardless, Dango explaining that he attacked Santino when he saw Santino using the Cobra and realizing that Santino was still stuck in 2010. And that with Joe Hendry, he thought he had a friend in him, but he's just another mark who he does not have any respect for. He said that people don't pay to see arm drags. People pay to see his arms, and they flex on his biceps. It was a nice line, and I have no idea what is coming from this. It seems to be like a serious Dirty Dango, but hey, sometimes change is good, even though I'm really going to miss the goofy, loving Dirty Dango that we've had. We had a promo for the six-man number one contenders match for the Impact World Championship tomorrow. Excited for that match very much. And then we had a fun singles match where Chris Bay, accompanied by his tag team partner, fellow tag team champion Ace Austin, defeated John Skyler of the Good Hands, who was accompanied by Jason Hotch and Brian Myers. Hotch got the win over Ace Austin last week, so it was nice, good old 50-50 booking as Chris Bay defeated John Skyler here. You know how I feel about Bay, guys. He's a star, and I'm so happy to see this team doing well. He got the win with the Art of the Finesse for the 1-2-3, and making sure that he took out Brian Myers before securing the win. They are taking on a completely different team tomorrow. They're taking on Subculture, and I don't know why this feud is necessarily happening, but here we are. It is what it is. And yeah, moving on to our main event segment. Not a match, so I guess that was the main event match. The main event segment of the night. Steve Maclin came out declaring that he will be taking on someone else. He selects Champagne Singh, who has a long list of people he wants to thank, but it doesn't matter who was on that list because he was... How are you going to clip any of this, Eric? Nobody pays attention to this show anyway. My voice is silly enough. How dare you? All I'm saying is the glue wouldn't have made things so confusing. You guys, man of the people. I am what I am. I got the people's champ right here. But anyway, the main event segment saw Steve Maclin declaring Champagne Singh. Champagne Singh, with his long list, gets interrupted by Scott D'Amore, the president of Impact. he says that I want to see the best possible person take you on for the championship, and Champagne Singh, Dollar Store Champagne Singh, is not the guy. He says that he's right, that Macklin was right. He was supposed to hand him the title when he won it at Rebellion, and he didn't do that. I'm not doing a silly voice, guys. This is it for you. I apologize. But if he wins this time, he will hand him the championship. Macklin says that is not enough. This time he's going to come in the ring, shake his hand, and he's going to put the belt around his waist. So who is it that he has as a replacement for PCO? Well, Scott D'Amore says it's simple. There is no replacement because it will be PCO who came out and attacked Macklin, Shira, and Singh, and after he disposes of Singh and Shira, he poses with the belt. This was a nice little go-home segment for the title match tomorrow. I love PCO. I don't think there's any way in the world. Do you really need to wear a wrestling shirt on a wrestling review? It's kind of my thing, man. I kind of just have wrestling shirts. Also superhero shirts, but it's mostly just wrestling shirts. But this was a nice segment to end the show and a nice segment to lead to the pay-per-view tomorrow. I'm a big PCO fan. I don't think there's any way he's retaining the belt, or I should say winning the belt. I think Steve Macklin is going to retain pretty handily, but it'll be a fun filler feud as we get to something bigger and better moving forward. But yeah, guys, that was Ring of Honor. That was Impact. I enjoyed the shows for the most part, even though Ring of Honor was definitely a tougher watch with how much wrestling there was, how much content there was. Impact was a nice go-home show. Could have been a little bit better, not their strongest, but at the same time, they got done what they needed to. So that's it. Thank you guys for joining me in the JIMPACT Zone, the JIMPACT Zone of Honor. I'm your guy, James Gisanti. Remember that this weekend we have 3 wrestling pay-per-views that here at the Mark It Down podcast we will be covering. Tomorrow will be Under Siege for Impact. Saturday will be Night of Champions, which I can't confirm that I'll be covering. And Sunday is AEW's Double or Nothing. Hardcore Casual. My favorite superhero is Nightwing. So yeah, a lot of wrestling content this week, lots of Mark It Down content this week. Please, if you like this video, give it a like, follow us if you're not already following us. We really appreciate it. And check us out this weekend. We should have our prediction video for Night of Champions out today. Go check that out, see who we think is going to win what matches. And then tomorrow we should have the Double or Nothing prediction show ready. All right, guys, that's it. That's me. Thank you for being here, and have a good night.